Hey there, happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for making the time to catch this replay. I'm so excited to continue my series this month. This month on email marketing. All month long, I'm breaking down the various parts of email marketing to help you make it work for you. Last week, I talked about how to get people on your email list. But now the question is, what do you do with them once they're there? Hi, my name is Karie Price. I'm a brand messaging coach, helping ambitious service-based business owners find and Okay, hopefully I am back on the same live. Looks like I had a temporary hiccup there. Will you let me know if you're joining me live? Will you just drop a comment? Let me know you can see me. I just want to make sure I am still streaming live because it told me it disconnected. So let me know if you're on and say hello if you're joining me live so I can welcome you. If you're watching the replay, please also drop a comment and let me know so I can come back and thank you properly and answer any questions that you have. It does look like I am still live. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay. Let me close that. Yes. Okay. I'm all good. Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for joining me and for letting me know I'm still back because eCam told me it disconnected me. I have even got all my streaming syncing stuff all turned off, so I don't know what's happening. We've been having a little bit of issues here. All right. I'm here. I'm back. Let's get to it. Okay. So like I said, hey, Tanya. Hello. Hello. Thank you for joining me live today. So last week, we talked about how to get people on your email list. Awesome discussion. Hopefully it was super helpful information for you. If you missed it, I'll drop I'll update the description after with a link to last week's so that you can easily go find that. But now you got people on your email list. The question is, what do you do with them? So today what I want to talk about is the goal for email marketing, what it should be, like what purpose it should serve for you, what you should email to your email list, how often you should email your list, and how not to burn them out. Okay, sound good? Now, if you have questions, drop those in below. If I can get those answered today, I will. What I will tell you is next week, we're rounding out our month-long series on email marketing, answering a ton of questions that I have gotten throughout the month. And I am bringing on an expert with me next week to help me answer all of these questions. So stick around for that. Hey, Easy, so good to see you. So if you have questions that haven't been answered, make sure you let me know. Next week, it's a full-on Q&A. I've got a guest expert joining me, and we are breaking down any questions you have around email marketing. But okay, today, let's focus on, now you've got these people on your list. What is your goal? What is the reason why we care to have an email list, right? Oh, I'm sorry, it's frozen. Let me know if anyone else has that problem. There will absolutely be a replay. Yep, there will be a replay. So when you are investing time, energy, and money in any of your marketing, including email marketing, your goal is to help people know, like, and trust you, right? It's an opportunity for them to get to know you, for them to know that you solve a need they have, a pain, problem, a challenge, a struggle, a want, a need, right? That you understand what that is, and that you have something that solves that addresses that, right? So the whole point of email marketing is to build your brand. Remember, your brand is your reputation as it's perceived in the mind of the market. So everything that you're putting out there is controlling and shaping the brand, and it's the delivery of your message that does that. So you want your emails that you send out, and we're going to talk about what kind of content and how frequently you should email in just a moment. But whatever it is that you're doing with your email marketing, you want to make sure that it is positioning you as the expert that you are. Just like all of your marketing content, if it is not relatable to your ideal client, if it's not one of a kind, if it's not actionable, and we're going to talk about what kinds of things will be actionable in your email. And if it does not help you be reliable as the expert that you are, then you've got to wonder why you're doing it, right? So I want you to have a really clear purpose for what your intentions are around email marketing. That's actually going to help you answer the next two questions, which is what should I email people and how often I should email them. And I'm going to talk about a couple different approaches that you can take, or a couple different kinds of email strategies that you can take. But like first and foremost, and maybe most importantly, is be thinking about why you're emailing people. And it's not always about you. Remember, most of the time your message is not about you. It's about your ideal client. It's about them being able to hear in your message, oh my gosh, she's speaking to me like she's in my head. Oh my gosh, yes, I have that problem and I'm tired of it and I'd like some help. And yes, I absolutely want that result. Like you're leading them down a path to that, right? Now, let me start by saying that does not mean that everything you put out there is a pitch. You're not always asking them to be a client. However, I want to make sure that you don't make the mistake on the opposite side of that and never pitch. People can't buy from you if they don't know what to buy from you, right? So just make sure you're balancing that. Again, that's the same in any of your marketing. You should be putting out valuable content that helps people recognize the problem they have, recognize they're tired of the problem, see the possibility of the results, and ultimately sees you as the expert that can help them. Okay? So that's your goal for email marketing. You're warming them up. You're helping them to understand, are they your ideal client or not? You're helping them understand, are you the expert that they want to help them? And by the way, what this means is don't be afraid of the unsubscribes. I know I still look at unsubscribes every now and again. More often, what I'm looking at when I look at people who unsubscribe is how long have they been on my list? What have they seen so far? And where did they unsubscribe? It actually tells me a lot of good information. And what's important is if they're unsubscribing because I put out content that's speaking directly to my ideal client and something I know they need to hear, and this person unsubscribed from that, great. That means they're not my ideal client, no problem. They didn't want to hear it, which means they're not open to working on their message, no problem. I don't need them on my list anyway, right? So Rhonda says, dang, that circle just keeps spinning. Oh no, it won't play. Oh, sorry, Rhonda. Yeah, definitely catch the replay. I'm sorry that that's happening. Technology, you gotta love it. Sarah says, yes. Okay, yeah. Don't be afraid of the unsubscribes because that means you're putting out content where you're taking a stand. And so let's use that as a segue to talk about what kind of content should you be emailing people. So one of the things I want you to think about is, what do you want people to know? And it's not just about you, but it's about what you do. What is it that you want people to recognize or understand? Okay. My live streaming stopped again. Yeah, Sarah. Okay, Sarah. Yeah, it looks like we're having some tech challenges. Sarah, will you let me know if I'm back? I keep getting booted out. This is going to be an interesting day. Yeah, Frank says, I used to hate the unsubscribe. Thank you, Sarah. I'm so glad I'm still here. Frank says, I used to hate the unsubscribe. I don't mind it anymore. Yeah, it's a mindset shift. Let's just be honest. Okay, Frank, I'm good for you in Jersey. Good. The unsubscribe means that people have weeded themselves out, and that's ultimately what we want, right? So a couple weeks ago, I kicked off the month of June talking about, whether email marketing is worth it. And we talked about open rates and the average percentages, which is below 20%. And we talked about your open rate, because it's a percentage. Don't get hung up on the vanity number of the total number of subscribers, because if you have a whole lot of subscribers that are not the right people, they're not reading your emails, they're not engaging with your emails, they're not interested in what you have to offer, not only are they just the wrong people, and right, and they're not going to ever be interested potentially, but it does affect your open rates. So don't be afraid of the unsubscribes. That means that you're putting out content that's helping people decide, am I interested in getting some help, guidance, inspiration in this area or not? And if they're not, just let them go. You don't need to waste time and energy on that. If they want to come back, they will, right? They will resubscribe when they're interested. So don't be afraid of that. So be thinking about what kind of content do you need to share with people that's going to help them know that. I mean, make it a game. How many people can I get to unsubscribe because I'm willing to stake a claim? I'm willing to say, messaging is important. And I'm willing to say you're probably struggling with these things. And I'm willing to say, marketing can be so much easier if your messaging were tighter. And I'm willing to say you wouldn't be frustrated and struggling so hard. I'm willing to put all that out there. And if people don't respond to that, that's okay. But the people who do, those are the people I want to work with. So this is why it's so important in all of your marketing, but especially email marketing. People are inviting you into their inbox. You better show up as an expert. You better show them, prove to them why they should allow you in your inbox. Hey, Elizabeth, so good to see you. Thank you for joining me. So what do you want them to know? What do you want them to know about, not about you, like, hey, here I do, this is what I do and how I do it, but about your industry, why you're positioned as the expert, your one of a kind point of view about what you do. And what do they need to hear from you to know, like, and trust you? Hey, Corey, thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're finding this helpful. Okay, so you need to be thinking about that. This is an overall marketing content strategy thing to be considering, but email marketing as a major hub of how you can communicate your information is like you are in their inbox. Make the most of it. The other thing I want you to be thinking of is, now I said not every email is about pitching. Right? People need multiple interactions and engagements with you. On average, it's 7 to 10 interactions before they get to a point where they're ready to make a buying decision. Now, that's in email. They're seeing you on social media. Maybe they're seeing you do videos, whatever the case might be. But 7 to 10 interactions before people really start, if you're putting out valuable content, if you're positioning yourself as an expert, it's 7 to 10 interactions before they get to the point where maybe they are ready to work with you, right? But be thinking about, what are you ultimately driving them to? What is the action you want them to take? Is it a signature program? Is it a smaller price point program that, you can do more of an email nurture sequence that sells directly from an email? Is it a webinar you want to drive them to? Is it a phone call you want them to get on? Be thinking about, okay, if this is my end goal, I want to get them on the phone, or I want to get them to sign up for my webinar, or I want to get them to buy my $97 course. What are all the things that they need to know going into the email where you make that offer? So anticipate what questions they're going to have. Now, how do you know that? This is where you've got to get really clear on who your ideal client is. And I'm not talking the ideal client avatar. I'm not talking demographics. I'm talking about what matters to them. What are they struggling with? How is that showing up for them? What is it they're truly looking for? And how can you meet them where they are and get them moved down the line in that decision-making process, so that when you make the offer via email for whatever that is, they're ready. Like they're the couple emails right before that, they should be anticipating, like, wait, what's next? What do I do next? How do I get more information? How do I work with you? So what can you do to warm them up to that offer, right? Now, I had a great question submitted to me in advance. Should my email marketing content be the same or different from content that I'm putting out in other places, like social media or maybe a Facebook Live topic? Now, there's varying opinions on this, I'll be honest, and you've got to do what feels right for you, but here's my philosophy on it. people aren't seeing all your content everywhere. They're not. As much as we want to believe like, ooh, people are going to get tired of seeing me everywhere. They're going to get tired. They're going to get the email about the thing. And then I'm going to do a Facebook Live about the thing. And then I'm going to have posts about the thing. And oh my gosh, they're going to get annoyed. Chances are they're not seeing all of that anyway. And even if they are, what is it doing? It's reinforcing the message. You're reliably showing up everywhere, right? They don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, okay, so I have to sign up to the email list and then I have to follow her on Facebook because that's different content. And then I got to follow on Twitter because that's different content, and on Instagram. I personally believe you can put the same content, obviously modified for the platforms, right? Like tweets are going to be like snippets of your content, quotes of things that you might talk about in your email, or a blog post, or a Facebook Live, or social media content. It can all be about the same thing. That's what you often hear people talk about, repurposing your content. Do a beefy Facebook Live, do a beefy blog post, and repurpose it everywhere. It makes content creation easier. By the way, I'm actually going to devote, I think, the month of July to content creation. So make sure you stick around for that. But repurpose, reuse your content so that you're not like, okay, I got to think of something separate for email and then something separate for everywhere else. No one's seeing all that stuff anyway, right? Use the same content. Let that be consistent. Sarah says she agrees with that. Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. And again, I'll dive into more on that in July, because I'm going to do content creation in July. So many things that you guys will make your content creation easier, that I want to help you better understand. So those are some things to get you thinking about what kinds of things to email. Now, let's talk about how often you should email and your email frequency. And it's not going to surprise you for me to say there is no one size fits all answer. There's a couple things that go into that. One, you've got to look at your overall marketing strategy and how email marketing plays into everything you're doing. Whether you're blogging or you're doing regular Facebook Lives or whatever it is, you want to look at it in the overarching grand scheme of what you're doing. You also need to be thinking about what is it that people want to hear. So you might, by the way, have different frequencies for different kinds of email content. How many people right now think there's only like you have a newsletter and there's one thing? Some people think that, right? Like, okay, people sign up for my email and I send out a weekly, a bi-monthly, or semi-monthly or a monthly newsletter. I'm like, that's it. You can have so many different kinds of content, and each piece of content might go out on a different schedule. When somebody first signs up for your list, you might have what's often called a welcome sequence or a nurture sequence. People just signed up for something that they thought was valuable from you. They have a need that they thought your freebie would help them with, right? Strike while the iron's hot. In that case, I personally email every day for the first, it's 5 to 10 days, depending. And I've shared before, I think, a little bit about my whole email nurture sequence. We've got a lot of logic in there. Maybe I shared that, or that was inside my Facebook group, the messaging done. I shared a little bit about the automation and the logic that I have in my own email nurture sequence. But people are signing up because they have a need. Let them get to know you quickly. Now, I don't think you need to send them more than one email a day, and make sure that every email, again, serves a purpose for where they are and how you help them warm up to whatever it is you want to offer them. My initial offer coming off of my welcome sequence is my free masterclass. And it's a way for them to get like training, get to see and know me, my expertise, like all of that, right? Like I give it to you in a masterclass, but I have a whole sequence that warms you up to why you might be interested in the masterclass. So the first week or two, you might get those emails. Now, once you sign up for a masterclass, there is also a separate email sequence, and those run every day for 5 days as well. Once you sort of get through anything that I have that's like driven off an action, so you sign up for a freebie, or you signed up for a masterclass, or, I might do a specific series on something, you want to sign up for the series. Maybe those are done daily, because you've signed up for a specific thing. I want to give you that specific content, right? But then yes, at some point you'll go onto my newsletter list where you'll get weekly, sometimes more than weekly information. I let you know what my Facebook Live topic is every week. As soon as the blog is done and ready to launch, you'll have an opportunity to, get new blog post announcements. I do a monthly recap of like highlights of things that I've either talked about, trainings I've offered that you may have missed, and what's coming up for next month. So I do a monthly recap, different kinds of email. So they all go out on a different schedule. And I'm not even talking about anything for your paid clients, right? That's inside a paid program, any content that you have to support your offering. So when you're looking at frequency, do what makes sense, but that you, more than anything, that you can consistently, reliably do. So I don't, for example, and I see people do this with Facebook Lives too. They get excited about doing Facebook Lives. They're like, I'm going to go live every day for the next 30 days. And by about day 17, they peter out and they can't sustain it, right? So same thing with email. Don't set yourself up for delivering a frequency that you don't feel like you can sustain. It's better to deliver something less frequently but be more reliable in that frequency than to say, hey, you're going to get something from me every week. And then next thing you know, it's once a month. And next thing you know, they haven't heard from you in 3 months, right? These are people who said they want to be on your list. They want to get information from you. Stay in touch with them. That's the only way you stay top of mind, right? And that shows them you're serious about your area of expertise and being of help to them. If you like fall off the radar for 3 months and you don't send an email for 3 months, they may think you went out of business, right? So whatever the frequency is, hey, if it's every other week, awesome. If it's once a month, awesome. Make sure that they're super valuable. And then next month, when I do all the content creation Facebook Lives, I'll give you some strategies that make that even easier. Okay. So, just checking my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. So no one size fits all. Your initial sequence might be different than your ongoing sequence. Oh, if your business model is a launch model where every however often, once a month, once a quarter, twice a year, whatever it is, you really gear up all your marketing efforts to launch and promote your program. And so you have all those launch activities, that frequency will be different too, right? So here's one of the things though, that to be very careful of, especially if you have lots of different types of emails and you're going into a launch. If you launch regularly, this is really important. I want to talk to you about how not to burn out your list, because we get really excited. We're like, oh, we want to share this. Oh, we're launching again. I just launched last month. I'm launching again. If you didn't sign up, let's do it again. So let me just share 2 things that you want to think about having in place so that you don't burn out your list. The last thing you want is for people to unsubscribe to your list completely because they're like, wait, that's just too many emails, right? So you want to give people the option and the ability to say, I want to stay on your list. I just don't want this thing anymore, right? So for example, if you sign up for my masterclass and there's an on-demand version, like instant access right now, you sign up, start watching it, then there's a follow-up sequence of emails that comes from that. At the bottom of every single one of those emails, you have an option to say, I no longer want the emails about this masterclass and the program that I talk about in the masterclass, but to stay on my list. And then there's a separate link to completely unsubscribe, right? So you want to be able to give people an option to say, like, yeah, I don't want to hear any more emails from this series of emails. Same thing when you're launching. Maybe when you're gearing up for a launch, whatever your launch strategy is, you send that out to everybody on your list and they can either opt in for those or you give them a clear opt out. Like, hey, I'm getting ready to launch again. I've got tons of great value and training and information coming your way. If you'd prefer not to receive those emails, but to stay on my list, click this link. So in order to make that happen, you need to be able to segment your list or tag them, whatever your system provides, whatever email tool you use. You need to be able to know that people want in or out of specific email sequences, right? So that they're not getting everything. And I don't want, for example, my clients to completely unsubscribe from my regular ongoing newsletter. Or they to completely unsubscribe from my list because they don't want my newsletter, but they clearly still want the emails that are part of the paid program that they have, right? So give people control over the granularity as much as you want, as depending on, you know, the kind of content you provide. Let people unsubscribe specifically from things. And be conscious of who you're emailing, especially when it comes to a launch. Don't blast your whole email list. For example, my existing clients don't get any emails related to me promoting my program. They're already in my program, right? So I'm selective, and I'm able to do that because I can tag them. I use ConvertKit. I've shared that before. I actually did a video last week inside my group on why I chose ConvertKit over MailChimp. And there were, I think, 2 key reasons why. But I can tag people and I know information about them, so I can exclude them and don't send them emails that I know they're not going to care about, right? Frank asked a great question. Is it valuable relative? Meaning what you think is valuable, the folks on your list might not think is valuable. Is there a formula for that? Not a hard and fast formula, Frank, but this is where it comes down to getting really clear on who your ideal client is and what they want to know about. That's partly what I help my clients do when they work with me inside my program, because your content really is ideal client facing. It's not about me and what you need to know about me. There are things people will want to know about me. There's a way to get that info. It's really about me speaking the language my ideal clients care about. And when you do the work that allows you to get those insights to build your messaging foundation from, then the content becomes valuable to them. And so you need to do that work to understand it. But it's getting really clear on what they're struggling with, how that's showing up for them, what they care about, what they want in their words. That's really important. That's what makes that relatable. Now, there will be some content you put out there that's what I call infotainment, right? It's still valuable in terms of keeping messaging in their mind, how important messaging is, or maybe it's edutainment. Edutainment, educational entertainment. So you can do that. That's where storytelling comes into play, right? So you want to be sharing information that keeps your topic in people's minds, keeps you top of mind related to that topic. So like I was sharing earlier, like you can have the same content in email that you have in social media. So you know, the same kind of content that you put out there. One of my most popular posts on Facebook is what my cat knows about messaging. I share that as an example in one of my emails. So like I use that content and it's fun and people love it. Like, oh my gosh, you know, I find all the cat lovers, by the way, by doing that. But it gives people a fun way to hear my message. Yeah, Frank says infotainment. Love it. Yeah. Share. Look, people aren't looking for information, right? There's enough information out there. What they're looking for is transformation, but in order for them to get the transformation from you, they have to know, like, and trust you. You have to be positioned as the expert. They have to know why you over everybody else. So all your content really needs to reinforce that. Okay, Frank says, okay, edutainment. Yeah, you've heard that one before. You like infotainment better. Yes, you can steal that. Awesome. I'm glad you like infotainment. Maybe I'll use infotainment too. That came out, but you're right. It was edutainment that I was thinking of, but infotainment, same thing, right? How do you share your information in an entertaining way? Next month's going to be fun when we tackle lots of content creation ideas, because that's my favorite part. I love brainstorming with my clients, different content ideas, how to draw inspiration from everything around you. And when you have your message in place, you look at the world through the lens of your message, and everything becomes content ideas. We're going to break that down more next month. Okay. So there were some other questions that were submitted around this. I'm actually going to hold those for next week's Q&A. If you have specific questions right now, though, if you're on, drop those in the comments. While we're live, I'll answer them right now. If you're catching the replay, I'll come back and answer every single one. And then there's still a pinned post in my group, The Messaging Den. You can go to themessagingden.com or search for The Messaging Den right here on Facebook. There's still a pinned post where you can go and post all your questions. We're doing a big roundup Q&A next week and bringing on a guest expert with me to help me answer all those questions. And I'm also going to be sharing in my group later this morning some great information around email deliverability. So what are some tactics, techniques, things that you can do to help ensure your emails get delivered, doesn't land in the spam box, doesn't get caught up in, any spam filters and things like that. So I'm going to be sharing some of that information in my group here later this morning. So make sure you come and join if you're not already a member, and let me know what other questions you have around email marketing. We've talked about how to get people on your list. We've talked about things to think about, what to do with them while they're on your list, like after they're there. And I have, I don't know, maybe a dozen or more questions already queued up for next week. So we're just going to do a rapid fire Q&A next week. So share those questions with me in advance or join us live. That'll be a ton of fun. All right. Sorry for the technical hiccups we had at the beginning, and I'm glad that I kept reconnecting back to the same live. And just looking at my notes one last time before I wrap up. Yeah, I think that's it. So until next week, don't settle for sounding like everybody else. And that includes in email. Make sure that your message gets heard because you've got the right words that are speaking to the right people. All right. Have a wonderful week and make your message roar. Talk to you then. Bye.